To hang the toe, we remove the main weight and all 3 heel forks. And we're also going to remove the cable ring. Now take the ravel cord ends and the tail yarn, move them outside the cylinder on both sides. At the halfway mark, there's 1 needle lifted that has sock yarn, and we need to push that needle down and tuck that latch. The rest of the needles then we can just push down. We don't have to tuck the latches. Don't push them all the way because sometimes that can actually cause the latches to close. We want the latches to stay open. Next, we're going to hang the bars for the toe all the way across. So you can do a little test and see if your toe is going to stretch all the way across. If it's really short, I mean, just not even close, it's probably best just to take the sock off the machine and start again. But if you're close, we're going to walk through the steps to do next. You'll need your loom tool, and we're going to pick up the bars of sock yarn that are in the middle of the cylinder. And the ones you want are the sock yarn pieces that are between the 2 rows of ravel cord. Okay. You have to be very careful not to miss any because then you can get a run in your sock that's not fixable. So here is the tail yarn, and we're looking for the first stitch after the tail yarn, the first little bar. So that's the one that we want. And I'm using my loom tool to help keep from splitting the stitches. And I'm going to hang that on the first open needle, which should be 2 to the right of the main mark. I'm going to pick up the next one, and I'm going to hang it on that same needle. After this, every needle gets 1 bar. It's best if you pull the fabric toward the needles, because otherwise, if you really are pulling the yarn all the way over to meet the needles, the next bars kind of disappear. They're hard to find. So hold the fabric near the needles so you can get each bar. Then as you hang them, make sure, again, your latches are staying open. You're going to hang 1 on each needle, heading towards 6 o'clock, and stop when you reach the target mark. Okay. So now I'm at the target mark. Now I'm going to go from the other side. So we're going to find the very first bar and hang it on the first needle. We're not doubling up this time though, you're just doing 1. All the way around to the target at the 5 o'clock. Okay, so now I have the open stitches in between the 2 marks, and you want to stop and count and make sure you have the same number of stitches as needles. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bars left, and I have 10 needles in between the 2 marks. If you have more stitches at this point, then you could go ahead and double up on one of the needles right near the marks. We'll finish hanging. last one. There we go. Now we need to remove the ravel cord, and you're going to start on the left at 9 o'clock and find the longer ravel cord. That should be the one that is at the top of your stitches. There's one layer that's at the top and there's one layer at the bottom of your stitches. And just wrap it around your hand a couple of times and kind of brace against these needles and just pull. You can see that it's going to pull all the way out and free. Set that one aside. The bottom one does not always come out as easily, so I am inclined to remove it by hand. I just pull each needle forward and then I go in with my loom tool and I pull the ravel cord out. Just pull it completely free. It just takes a moment, and this is so much faster than having to Kitchener the toe shut at the end or having to remove a bunch of waste yarn later. And if you don't do this method, at the next step there can be some issues with knitting through so many layers, and you just avoid all of them. So I love this method. I also think using the ravel cord makes it really easy to see which bars you're supposed to pick up, and otherwise it is not always quite as simple. All right, that's both ravel cords out. And now, like magic, you can reach underneath and your ravel cord will just pull out with all of your waste yarn. So you're completely free and clear and just have your sock left on the machine. Do a quick peek, make sure that the stitches are all above the latches. Now we're going to weave the tail yarn in so we don't have to sew it later. You're just going to go every other one in and out around the needles towards 6 o'clock. All right, and then when you reach 6 o'clock, just lay it in the middle. And now for this step, I like to put the heavy weight, my 2.5 pound weight.
Visit us at deanandbean.com and please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.